the 6th year of my secret crush on Ethan. I unexpectedly entered a marriage of convenience with him. After the wedding, we maintained a polite distance, using ultra-thin condoms twice a week. Because Ethan said, marriages without emotional attachments are most stable. I carefully hid my overwhelming feelings for him. Everything changed when Ethan's first love returned from abroad. He started staying out late constantly, preferring cold showers over touching me. When I brought divorce papers to him, I suddenly heard his thoughts: love my wife so much, love my wife so much, love my wife. On our wedding night, I'd chugged half a bottle of wine for courage. As alcohol flushed my cheeks, Ethan cradled my neck, feather-light kisses descending. Had some drinks? May I continue? He murmured. My throat managed a faint MMH, while thinking how he maintained such icy control even now. Our traditional Chinese wedding garments slipped halfway. When cool air touched my skin, I shivered. Ethan had only undone 2 shirt buttons, his loosened tie revealing tan skin and defined pectorals that hypnotized me. Ethan, I breathed. Don't be nervous. Candy, he soothed, maneuvering me to the bed's edge. Kneeling, he suddenly kissed the crimson birthmark below my navel. Rough whispers warmed my ear. Tell me if uncomfortable. Fingers tangled in his jet black hair. I marveled at this surreal moment, like unexpectedly seeing auroras blaze across familiar skies. I desperately wanted to keep Ethan. Later events blurred through the alcoholic haze. The next morning, my legs nearly buckled when walking. Ethan solemnly discussed the condom usage frequency: 5 times a week? 5? My eyes widened. He amended without blinking: twice a week then. We postponed our honeymoon due to Ethan's corporate responsibilities and my upcoming screenwriting project. However, the main reason for postponing was something else. I wanted to wait until there was some genuine affection between Ethan and me, even a little bit. Real or manufactured. Surprisingly, our marriage turned out to be unexpectedly harmonious, both in daily life and physical compatibility. His attentiveness bordered on extraordinary. Our weekly supply of ultra-thin condoms had doubled from 2 per week to 2 boxes per session. The next morning, my legs trembled as Ethan scooped me up to tie his tie. My brain still felt foggy. Ethan, maybe on weekdays we should. I hesitated, choosing my words carefully. Not stay up quite so late. Though I'd always had a thing for Ethan's physique, sustainable resource management seemed wiser. I'm not rejecting marital intimacy. It's just, for health reasons, maybe we could limit it to twice weekly? I kept stealing glances at his expression while deftly finishing the Windsor knot. Whenever Ethan was home, I tied his ties. In return, he religiously blow-dried and styled my hair after every wash. I used to feel self-conscious about it until he teased. Don't tell me you hate my clumsy fingers? Adding, we're married. Candy. No need for formalities. These moments made me foolishly imagine he loved me. I knew better, his heart still clung to that unforgettable first love. But given time, I'd fill every corner of his life. Ethan's sharp jawline shifted as he considered my proposal. My apologies for lacking restraint last night. But Candy. His thumb pressed into my sore lower back through silk pajamas. I have needs too. He continued massaging circles as he explained. An unexpected conference call delayed us. I'll schedule earlier start times moving forward. His gaze darkened suddenly. Was there discomfort yesterday? Should I apply ointment? Heat flooded my cheeks. No. Ethan's fingers tilted my chin up. His searing kiss quickly escalated into something demanding and all-consuming. When he guided my hand past his sculpted abs, my breath hitched. Much later, his gravelly voice broke the silence. You're right. Of course. For health reasons. His lips brushed my earlobe. How about joining my morning workouts 3 times weekly? My soul left my body. The perfectly tied tie ended up discarded anyway. As Ethan carried me to the shower afterward, his breath warmed my crown. Ryan invited us to his new bar opening next week. High school friends circle, you know them all. High school reunion. Would Ryan have invited Vivi? After 2 seconds consideration, I declined with a shake of my head. The script I'm working on had a major female character added last minute due to investor demands. My sections require extensive rewrites. With filming starting soon, there's no time for delays. Sorry about this. Ryan Sullivan, Ethan Mitchell, and my brother Jake Johnson grew up as childhood friends. We all attended the same high school. I was a freshman when Ethan became a senior. Though shy and introverted, I often tagged along with Jake's group to secretly observe Ethan's every move, how he laughed at stupid jokes, which cafeteria meals he avoided, the way his brow furrowed solving physics problems. To get closer, I'd intentionally bomb calculus tests just to ask Ethan for tutoring. Everything changed when Vivi's song transferred to Ethan's class that spring semester. Vivi was everything I wasn't: charismatic, academically gifted, and worst of all, childhood friends with Ethan since elementary school. What I never expected was Vivi cornering me after gym class. Scarlett, do you have feelings for Ethan? My eyelashes fluttered like trapped butterflies. Not even Jake knew about my crush. Vivi tilted her head, coral-glossed lips curling. He told me he only sees you as a kid sister. Since I'm confessing to him tomorrow. Her manicured nail tapped my calculus textbook. Maybe stop using homework as an excuse to chase after my future boyfriend. After their disastrous 2-week relationship ended, Vivi made sure to rub salt in the wound during our college prep seminar. Ethan and I go way back. I only transferred here to be near him. Got early admission to Stanford. So why wait until graduation? She flipped her honey blonde hair over one shoulder. You should focus on your own future instead of clinging to mine. Years later at a rooftop bar, the conversation turned to that viral song about first loves. Ryan smirked into his whiskey. Ethan's been single all this time waiting for someone special. Cut to present day, I've been holed up in the home office for 5 nights straight revising this cursed script. At 2:17 a.m., the door creaks open. Scarlett. Ethan hardly ever uses my full name. Moonlight outlines his damp hair and unbuttoned dress shirt as he approaches. Rainwater and bergamot cologne cling to his skin when he cages me against the desk. Have you forgotten you're married? His thumb brushes my lower lip. Or are we doing separate bedrooms now? It's only when he nips at my collarbone that I realize he's not actually angry. My fingers tangle in his still damp hair as I whisper apologies against his mouth. Candy, he murmurs against my temple later. Our legs entwined under rumpled script pages. Promise you won't shut me out like that again? I trace the scar on his shoulder from our senior year ski trip accident. Never. I just forgot. You know. I haven't been ignoring you these days. Before I could finish, Ethan's gaze darkened. His teeth lightly grazed my lips as he swallowed the rest of my words. He didn't revisit the topic. The overhead light seemed to sway incessantly. Biting my lip, I turned to look at our intertwined fingers. A restless dissatisfaction began stirring within me. This marriage of mutual respect felt inadequate. Maybe we could nurture real affection over time. A dangerous hope I'd never dared entertain took root in my heart. Could Ethan possibly feel something for me? The clock showed 11:30 at night on party night. Ethan still hadn't returned. As I debated texting him, his message arrived first: too drunk to drive. Staying at Ryan's place tonight. Don't wait up. Acting on impulse, I asked Ryan for the address, determined to surprise Ethan. If only my brother Jake hadn't flown to Paris for business last week, I could have discreetly asked him instead, timing it to when gatherings usually end. I drove to Ryan's new bar. Scanning the room while reaching for my phone, my gaze suddenly locked onto a familiar silhouette. Under mood lighting, Ethan leaned against the bar with military straight posture, swirling his drink with elegant fingers. That aristocratic bearing was unmistakable. My lips curved into a smile as I watched him for several heartbeats before approaching. Then his detached words froze me mid-step. Emotionless arranged marriages are the most stable. My smile petrified. Each syllable carved into my chest like ice shards. Scalding tears welled up instantly. I fled before hearing Ryan's retort, "Bullshit, Ethan. You can't even follow your own advice. Yet preach about marriage alliances." Stumbling into the restroom, I let bitter tears mingle with sink water. Human greed knows no bounds. Ethan's marital devotion, sharing schedules, memorizing my preferences, keeping nightlights for my fear of darkness, made me confuse duty with love. Finally lifting my head, I forced a grotesque smile at the mirror. "Scarlett, you should be content with what you have," I whispered hoarsely. My secret longing must never reach him. Composing myself, I turned to leave and collided with Ryan's group entering the hallway. Ethan lingered at the back, focused on his phone. Ryan spotted me first, waving while kicking Brian beside him. Oblivious, Brian continued, "Candy? We were just discussing Vivi job hunting after returning from abroad. You think if she had come back earlier, would Ethan?" Ryan elbowed Brian hard in the stomach, cutting him off mid-sentence. My breath caught at the familiar name. "Vivian's song? She's back? Does Ethan still keep in touch with her?" "Told you I wasn't lying." Candy asked for the address to pick up her husband, Ryan declared triumphantly, dragging Ethan Mitchell over. He shoved Ethan's arm into my embrace with exaggerated flair. "Take him home already. Our boy Ethan here's completely wasted, totally at your mercy tonight." "Candy." I blinked in confusion, catching Ryan's exaggerated wink at Ethan. My gaze swept over Ethan's composed posture, the faintest trace of alcohol lingering around him. Eyes clear as morning frost. This was no drunken man. Yet as I hesitated, Ethan's eyelids suddenly fluttered. His tall frame swayed dramatically before he buried his face in the curve of my neck with pinpoint accuracy. "So dizzy," he murmured hoarsely, warm breath skating across my collarbone. They kept pouring drinks. Did my Candy come specially to take me home? The rowdy catcalls from Ryan's group scorched my ears. I managed a stiff nod, fingers tightening around his when his hand slid perfectly into mine. Avoiding everyone's gaze, I led him through the pulsing club lights toward the exit. "My wife came to get me. First time." That rich baritone resonated in my mind as if spoken directly into my ear. I froze mid-step, turning to search Ethan's face. His lips curved in faint triumph, Adam's apple bobbing as he stared ahead without uttering a word. Ryan's stupid advice actually worked. "She's blushing. Adorable. Maybe I can finally use that third box of ultra-thin 001s tonight." At the red light, I stole glances at Ethan's reclined form in the passenger seat. His long fingers massaged his temple, lashes brushing cheekbones in feigned exhaustion. That voice, had I truly heard his thoughts? My plummeting spirits from earlier now soared with reckless hope. "Ethan," I ventured, pulse racing, "are you really drunk? Should I get sobering pills from the pharmacy?" Dark eyes heavy-lidded met mine. "Just a headache," he rasped. The picture of weary nobility. I swallowed my next question, the absurdity of mind reading too wild to voice. The light turned green. His thumb brushed my knuckles on the gearshift, a silent prompt. As we accelerated, his thoughts vibrated through me again with crystal clarity. Should have pretended to stumble into her lap at that intersection. 3 more blocks till home. 3 more blocks till I show her exactly how sober I am. Before driving off, I glanced back at Ethan. He had shifted positions, his striking features now fully visible in the moonlight with a faint smirk playing on his lips. The car remained silent throughout the ride home. My unease lingered until we reached the driveway. The moment I parked, Ethan's phone rang. My sharp eyes immediately caught the caller ID Vivi. "Ethan, can you come pick me up now?" My hand froze on the door handle. A bitter taste rose in my throat as I abruptly exited the car, leaving the supposedly intoxicated Ethan behind without a second glance. Ethan stared at his phone for a beat. Vivi's voice continued through the speaker. Grandpa Mitchell heard my new condo's under renovation and insisted I stay at the family estate to keep him company. But I haven't visited in ages and can't remember the way. Brian mentioned your dinner gathering tonight. You should have invited me. I could have made time despite my hectic schedule. His gaze followed my retreating figure with visible confusion before he finally responded to Vivi's ramblings. I stood frozen in the foyer for what felt like hours. Mind racing. After internal debate, I texted Amber, my high school best friend and sole confidant and my 6-year crush on Ethan. Amber. Vivi's back. She just called Ethan for a ride. The reply came instantly frowny face. Calling a married man at 1 a.m.? That bitch needs Jesus. Scarlett. Get your shit together. Arranged marriage or not. You're legally Mrs. Mitchell now. Even if she's the first love, which I doubt. Home wrecking is home wrecking. Remember how he kept checking on you during his MIT years? Literally told you he was single. My fingers tightened around the phone. Sophomore year memories flooded back. Ethan messaging study tips from Cambridge despite his brutal schedule. My flustered reply after weeks of his persistence. My brother Jake says you're barely sleeping. Shouldn't you spend free time with your girlfriend instead of tutoring me? His response took forever to type out. Candy. I'm single. Appreciate the concern. But I'll always make time for you. My teenage heart had soared. I'd resolved to confess after graduation. But then Ryan later claimed Ethan remained single, waiting for his true love. Amber's furious typing continued when the door suddenly swung open. Ethan's stormy gaze locked with mine. Words died in my throat as I hastily looked away. Pulse racing. Whenever I see Ethan, all the words I want to say evaporate into thin air. Clutching my phone, I hurriedly retreat into the bedroom. Amber immediately sends me an exasperated eye roll emoji. Just ask him straight up. Stop retreating into your shell every time something happens. You're killing me here. Do you want Vivian to keep being that thorn in your and Ethan's sides forever? Listen to me. Put on that lingerie I gave you last month and ask him mid-action. You'll be too distracted to overthink. Guaranteed answers. When Ethan looked at you during dinner at your place last week, totally undressed you with his eyes. Judging by how fast you go through those ultra-thin condoms, he's at least crazy about your body. Might be more. Go get Candy. After agonizing for 20 minutes, I bite my lip and fish out the teal lace backless nightgown Amber gave me. Slipping into the bathroom. When I emerge, Ethan hasn't returned to our bedroom yet. His study light glows, probably wrapping up work emails. I tug at the hem barely covering my thighs and bury my burning face in the duvet. Could this actually work? He doesn't come to bed until 3 a.m. Ethan stands motionless by the bed. His dark gaze lingers where the twisted sheets expose my inner thigh. Moonlight making my skin glow like polished jade. I feel his palms sear through the flimsy fabric at my waist. Candy? I mumble sleepily. When he pulls me against his chest, I loop my arms around his neck with practiced ease, letting the strap slide off my shoulder. My heart hammers against his collarbone, palms slick with sweat. Ethan freezes. I hear his breathing deepen. Adam's apple bobbing. He glances at the clock. Then, he tucks me under the covers and heads to the bathroom. I lie stunned. Maybe he wants to shower first? But after endless tossing and waiting, I pad barefoot to the bathroom door. My knuckles hover mid-knock when I hear it, muffled. Strained grunts behind the rushing water. Cheeks flaming. I scramble back to bed. He returns 30 minutes later. Skin chilled from the shower. His arms encircle me from behind. Cold fingertips brushing my cheek. Sleep now. Good night. I bite my lip hard. Eyes flying open in the darkness. That's it? It finally clicks. Ethan had been taking a cold shower. He'd rather freeze himself than touch me. Is this the power of a first love? Anger and hurt twist in my chest. We've somehow slipped into this silent war without a single shot fired. The third day of our Cold War. I started filming. Ethan kept texting me daily, sometimes work schedules, sometimes lunch photos. I stopped engaging in real conversations, replying only with emojis. When I called Aunt Wong to request mailing something from home, she sounded confused. Miss Scarlett. Mr. Mitchell gave me 2 weeks off. Didn't you discuss this? My throat tightened. I see. Don't worry. I'll help ship your package. Mr. Mitchell hasn't been home lately with you away, so he approved my leave. After hanging up, I texted Ethan, "You haven't been home?" He deflected, "How's filming? When are you returning to New York?" My nails dug into my palm. If he wasn't home or visiting set, where was he sleeping? We'd agreed on twice-weekly meetings. Yet he'd skipped 2 weeks. The indifference stung. Wrapping this web series in 3 weeks. Have you contacted Vivian? My finger hovered before sending. Ethan replied, "No. Need something from her?" Yet Vivian's Instagram showed her living at the Mitchell estate and working at Mitchell Corp. I reopened her profile. Her profile picture featured Ethan's back. Scrolling past posts with single-digit view counts, I froze at her latest update, business trip with Mr. M. Another heart-fluttering day, accompanied by Ethan's suited figure negotiating. Further down, the phone Mr. M gifted me got stolen years ago, but recently recovered old photos. The 9-grid collage included high school shots. One photo gutted me, Ethan laughing unrestrainedly. A version I'd never witnessed. Mr. M's grandfather shared his childhood mischief today. Even gods have clay feet. Confessed to Mr. M that I still like him after all these years. He asked for more time. I'll wait. My trembling hands darkened the screen. Acidic humiliation burned my sinuses. I'd been clowning myself. Opening my law school group chat, I messaged Brian, "Need divorce papers drafted. Urgently." Since the thorn was digging deeper, maybe it was better to let go. Andy Shing worked with astonishing efficiency, finalizing the divorce papers within 3 days. He drove straight to the film studio. I was surprised. You could have just mailed them. Had business in Hengdian. Figured I'd drop by. He cleared his throat. Besides, we should review the terms together for any adjustments. After some hesitation, I invited him to a restaurant near the studio. While waiting for our food, he slid the document across the table. My fingers lingered on the embossed words "divorce agreement." Momentarily transfixed. Andy studied me cautiously. "Scarlett, mind if I ask why now?" He immediately winced. "Forget I asked. None of my business." The real question hung between us like smoke. "Do you still love Ethan?" I stared at my tea, its surface rippling with memories. How could I not? Countless moments flashed through my mind, Ethan rescuing me from awkward social situations during high school, slipping me strawberry gummies when my brother Jake hogged the PlayStation. That time I accidentally stepped on his Jordans during basketball practice. "Sorry." I'd squeaked. Face burning. Ethan had glanced down, his sweat-damp hair falling over amused eyes. "No worries. Candy. How about trading that Gatorade you brought Jake as peace offering?" When I dumbly handed it over, he produced a handful of the familiar pink candies from his pocket. "Just returning the favor," he'd said, that dimple appearing. Even during calculus tutoring sessions, he'd never criticized my mistakes. Creative approach. He'd muse, lips twitching. Though maybe, each correct answer earned me another gummy. At family dinners, he'd quietly swap out spicy dishes before I arrived, always making sure the waiter brought my strawberry milk. Then came the night he'd shown up at my dorm. tie slightly crooked from nervous fidgeting. Candy, would you consider marrying me? His Adam's apple bobbed. If you're not ready, I'll handle everything. Just say the word. Every memory stung like citrus in a paper cut. It doesn't matter anymore, I finally told Andy. He drove me back to set, pausing at the security gate. If you ever need anything, legal stuff. Or just, His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Let me take you to dinner sometime? To thank you for all those geometry rescue sessions senior year. I was halfway through declining when a familiar baritone cut through the night air. Sweetheart. Who's your friend? Ethan leaned against his Range Rover. Armani suit immaculate but eyes stormy. The strawberry milk in his hand dripped condensation onto the pavement. Ethan appeared behind me without warning. His tailored black suit accentuated his broad shoulders as his frosty gaze settled on Andy. Andy merely quirked an eyebrow in response before extending his hand. Andrew Shing. We met at your wedding reception. I'll take my leave now, wouldn't want to interrupt. He turned to me with practiced charm. Screenwriter Scarlett. Feel free to WhatsApp me about any contract revisions. Later. Before I could respond, Ethan's palm settled possessively against the small of my back. The sudden warmth of his touch made me stiffen. His thoughts flooded my consciousness like radio interference suddenly clearing. What contract is this bastard talking about? That smarmy look makes me want to rearrange his pretty boy face. Wait, doesn't he resemble that motorcycle-riding punk who brought Scarlett to our high school reunion? I blinked. Motorcycle punk? Taking a deliberate step back from Ethan's embrace, I studied his chiseled features. Since when do you visit film sets? Since my wife's working 16-hour days here. His thumb brushed my hip bone, reigniting the psychic connection. Her perfume still smells like vanilla. Why is she wearing that intern's hoodie? Doesn't she know how many germs? I sidestepped his touch, cutting off the mental feed. So physical contact triggered this ability. Fascinating. The sound of crew cheers interrupted us. Before us stretched a lavish buffet, Starbucks cold brews jostled with Costa lattes while Whole Foods sushi chefs portioned bluefin tuna. Production assistants distributed Tiffany blue gift boxes stamped with M. J. Mitchell Johnson Enterprises. Compliments of the husband, Ethan announced, arms snaking around my waist again. The crew erupted in applause. Vivi sauntered over with an iced macchiato, mischief dancing in her eyes. Scarlett. You dark horse. Here I was saving Jason Momoa's trainer's number for you. Ethan's smile turned glacial. Vivi backpedaled with actress perfect timing, kidding. You two look like Renaissance portraits of power couples. When the director dismissed me for the afternoon, I numbly led Ethan to my hotel suite. His Louis Vuitton weekender by the door mocked my IKEA organized space. So, I twisted the hem of my oversized sweatshirt. How long are you staying? His Armani-clad shoulders tensed. Already trying to get rid of me? Candy? I just figured with Sundance Festival crowds. All the decent hotels. We're married. He ground out, rolling up sleeves to reveal taut forearms. Or did you forget our prenup guarantees shared accommodations during conjugal visits? The mental static returned as his fingers brushed mine reaching for the minibar. Why does she keep flinching? Is that hickey from No? That's just a mosquito bite. Thank God. Wait. Since when do I care? I popped open a San Pellegrino, hiding my smile in the fizzy bubbles. This could be interesting. I've been pulling all-nighters at the office lately to clear my schedule for the next month. I want to spend quality time with you. I couldn't help pouting, muttering under my breath. But earlier you were taking cold showers to avoid being near me. My eyes widened as I realized I'd spoken the forbidden thought aloud. Ethan's stern expression softened. He reached for my hand, his calloused thumb brushing my knuckles. So this is why you've been distant. Candy? You told me you didn't want to stay up late that night. Don't you remember? His mental voice overlapped with his words, and you had such dark circles under your eyes. How could I possibly keep you awake? I could never do that to you. My breath caught. This was supposed to be our final conversation before filing for divorce. I tightened my grip on his hand instead of pulling away, better to maintain physical contact for eavesdropping on his thoughts. Ethan glanced at our intertwined fingers. His face impassible marble. She's holding my hand. Does this mean she's not angry anymore? God. I love her. I love her so much it's physically painful. My pulse quickened despite myself. Are you planning to get back together with Vivi? The name tasted like ash. His pupils dilated. What kind of absurd question is that? Where would she even allowed? His voice roughened. Scarlett. I told you when we were sophomores I've always been single. Where did this misunderstanding come from? Vivian and I were never involved. My nails dug into his palm. But in high school, when she confessed, Vivian never confessed. Ethan's brow furrowed. The only interaction I recall was her asking about MIT applications. Brian and the others started teasing us. But she immediately clarified we were just classmates. Memories resurfaced Vivian's flushed cheeks as she'd giggled. Stop it. You guys. We're just friends. The way she'd shadowed Ethan through hallways. Even staying at the Mitchell estate sometimes. Ethan cupped my face, forcing me to meet his stormy gaze. My entire world revolved around you back then. Candy. There was no room left to notice anyone else. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. The gesture devastatingly tender. There still isn't. The unspoken truth hung between us while I'd been obsessing over imagined rivals. Ethan had been quietly dismantling every barrier between us, waiting for me to finally see what had always been mine. I pulled out Vivi Song's X account to show Ethan. What about this? Ethan frowned as he scrolled through, then searched Vivi's profile on his own phone. Aside from her selfies and landscape photos, those controversial X posts I'd seen earlier were only visible from my account. Me? Oh. Ethan explained. I never sent Vivi gifts or said those bizarre things. As for the rest, there is some history between Grandpa Mitchell and the songs. Let's have him explain it properly later. My cheeks warmed. That's not necessary. Ethan's gaze burned into me, molten intensity swirling in his eyes. Scarlett. Ethan has been in love with you for 6 years. I'm still crazy about you. I love you. Scarlett. Discovering your longtime crush reciprocates your feelings is overwhelming enough, but when you're also technically still married to him? I shoved Ethan into the bathroom. Why you should freshen up first. I stammered. Pulse racing. Must be exhausted from rushing here. Just take a shower. The corner of Ethan's mouth twitched as he obediently stepped inside, pressing my burning face against the cool wall. I couldn't suppress my grin. Ethan loves me. Ethan loves me. Ethan loves me. After several minutes of giddy pacing, I remembered the divorce papers in my bag. Glancing nervously toward the running shower, I retrieved the documents. Rip. Rip. Just as I tore the 4th page, Ethan's voice growled above me. So this is the agreement Andy mentioned. Planning to serve me divorce papers without warning. Mrs. Mitchell? His breath tickled my neck as I bit my lip, avoiding his gaze. Remarkably, Ethan's anger dissolved into a smug chuckle. Didn't realize my candy cared so much. The nickname made my stomach flip. His fingers tilted my chin upward, crashing our lips together with desperate hunger before softening into tender exploration. Mouth. Collarbone. Lower, until my breathing turned ragged. Wife tastes sweeter than honey. I jolted, slapping my palm over Ethan's mouth. Don't say weird things during this. Ethan blinked. I didn't. Shower. Together. Now. His laughter echoed off the tiles as steam enveloped us. With that, he effortlessly scooped me up in his arms and carried me into the bathroom. As we stepped into the shower area, Ethan carefully removed the prayer beads from his wrist. I glanced distractedly at them, the same beads I'd specially requested from the temple during my pilgrimage and later gifted to Ethan. In my haze of exhaustion later, I realized something. Those beads had been letting me hear Ethan's innermost thoughts all along. I made a mental note to always remove them from him during these moments, going forward. The intensity was becoming too much to handle. Back in the city, Grandpa invited me to the family estate. Walking into the tea room, I was surprised to find Vivi standing beside him. The elderly man patted my head with his wrinkled hand, warm eyes tinged with remorse. "Candy, Vivi has something to discuss. After you two talk, come find me in the study, okay? We'll have a proper chat then." When we were alone, Vivi sat across from me with an impassive expression. "Ethan never liked me," she stated bluntly. "I never confessed to him or dated him. It was all one-sided." I met her gaze silently, having already heard this truth from Ethan himself days earlier. At my lack of response, she continued bitterly. "Grandpa insisted I explain everything. Sorry for causing years of misunderstanding between you and Ethan." She began recounting every instance of her past meddling, but I cut her off halfway through. "That's enough. Consider it explained." I stood to leave. "Scarlett," Vivi called hoarsely, using my full name for the first time. "Sometimes I envy you." Her voice cracked. "Having your feelings reciprocated. Ethan's eyes never leave you when you're around." I turned back sharply. "Vivi? Truthfully, I used to envy you too." My smile held no malice. "Your outgoing nature, stellar grades, how easily you connected with everyone. But these days, I'm quite fond of who I am. Being introverted isn't so bad." In the study, Grandpa sat staring at an old photograph. He showed me the faded image, his younger self in military uniform beside another handsome soldier, both grinning broadly. "Vivi is my dear friend and Savior's granddaughter. Watched her grow up," he murmured. His eyes glistened as he explained her father's line of duty death during her high school years, the subsequent family tragedies, and his promise to care for her. "After today, I'm sending Vivi abroad. She won't interfere with you and Ethan anymore." His trembling hand covered mine. "I'm not asking you to forgive her, just this old man clinging to past promises." That night, Ethan posted on social media for the first time in years a single photo of two intertwined hands, his prayer beads conspicuously absent from the wrist. The caption simply read, "Finally free to love loudly." The next morning, I discovered Ethan Mitchell's social media post, "Ethan Mitchell, my beloved," accompanied by two photos, one showing our interlocked hands, another from high school. I frowned momentarily. Had we actually taken pictures together back then? Staring at the cropped image where only Jake's sleeve remained in the corner, I chuckled before scrolling through comments. "Brian, my bad for being blind. Congrats Ethan and wifey. Forever." An army of forever wishes followed. Ryan's savage remark finally grew a tongue. "Huh? Congrats." Jake's simple, "Congratulations." Something about my brother's comment felt loaded. I immediately texted him. "When's your flight back from Paris? You've been MIA for months. Don't tell me your wife hunting there?" Jake frowny face, "Returning before your birthday." "Stop fishing." "Yes. I knew Ethan liked you since high school. Told him straight no dating till college. Maybe during your finals." "Ethan waited in my car the whole time. Didn't want him distracting you. He left abruptly during your last exam. Never mentioned it because you two stopped talking in college." "The arranged marriage?" Ethan approached Dad first. "We agreed nothing happens without your consent." "How did I miss you liking him too? Wasted years, that's all. Congrats on getting your happy ending. Candy." Epilogue. Amber started dating a college guy. Weeks later, she called me conflicted. "Candy, we did it. Either all my erotica reading was lies, or It hurt. Not enjoyable at all. Teach me your tricks. Positions? Blushing. I stammered, Ethan only uses one. Completely unaware of the man eavesdropping outside. I continued our girl talk. Later that night, finding Ethan still in his study. I asked, "Aren't you coming to bed?" He hurriedly removed headphones. Guilt flashing across his face as he closed his laptop. Soon. He carried me back to the bedroom. But halfway through, I heard Ethan's inner voice again. "Will Candy like this new position I learned?" I quickly reached out to remove the bracelet from Ethan's wrist. How could I forget about this again? Ugh. Thank you all for the company. Your support fuels my passion for sharing these sweet romance stories. See you next time.